Yeah, we're live.
Very dramatic, sir.
Okay, that's it. We're live. It's 8 o'clock. It's a Wednesday night. It's Super League Raw. I'm David Kane, and with me, as always, Greg Nixon. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening. I'm all right. How are you, mate? You okay?
Yes, very well indeed. I have to say I'm a bit exhausted these last couple of days. A lot of Super League news coming at us thick and fast. But before we start, Greg, this time last week we did our first weekly magazine show. We had 52 members on Facebook. As we go live tonight, we're at 303 in a week. That is unbelievable.
That's not bad, that, is it? You must be doing something right, mate.
Well, delighted, absolutely delighted, and I think you'll join me in thanking all of those people who have followed Super League Raw Fans Forum, and we'll be watching this hopefully tonight. Please also subscribe to this YouTube channel. That way, whenever me and Greg go live, you will be notified. But yeah, great result, Greg. Yeah.
Fantastic, yeah. It's good to see not just Warrington fans. It's good to see across the board as well. Quite a few Hull fans early doors. Got a few Wigan and Saints fans, I think, on board in the last couple of days, so that's good to see. So yeah, I echo that. Thanks for taking the time to join us. It's brilliant news.
There's been as you say, loads of Hull fans coming in. Okay, we've got lots to get through. Moment of the week, Greg. What's your moment of the week this week?
My moment of the week, apart from Darryl Powell being confirmed as Warrington coach from next season, was a bit of a negative one. The Joe Greenwood sending off.
Okay.
Huddersfield. Just a few minutes left in the game, and I've seen worse go unpunished. If I'm being honest, it was reckless. It was high, but I've seen worse. It just stood out as kind of. It was a great weekend of rugby last weekend. All the games, bar a couple, were quite close.
Yeah.
And it was just. I thought the game was already won. I just didn't see them. I just thought, well, if players are going to be sent off for that, you may as well go out in American football helmets and shoulder pads.
Obviously, we've got a couple of Huddersfield fans, and I'm a part of Huddersfield groups. And I think what's done that there for Joe Greenwood is the fact that he left the floor. And once you leave the floor, you lose control. And I think that they're just seeing it as reckless. And
maybe I just thought it was
three matches. 3 matches. Yeah. Obviously the committee mean business. Right. My moment of the week. It's a dual one. Okay, it's a dual one. The first one, I would like to give praise to the Lee fans. Warrington 28, Lee 0. Lee go in for a try, Adam Sidlow. The Sky cameras go to Derek Beaumont, and he's punching the air as if they've just won the winning try. And on top of that, when they went in for the second try at 44-10, it cut to the Lee fans, and there's a little lad there, his try sign. The Leeds fans are jumping around in the living room. So credit to the Lee fans. That's what it's all about. Win, lose, draw, support your team. And the other moment of the week, without question, was the dancing dad of Warrington Wolves. Without question. That has to be one. Now, we're hoping, here he comes, as if by magic. That gentleman is called Tom McGuiness. Here is Tom McGuiness, and he's actually flown out to his winter retreat to be with us. Tom, can you hear us?
Hello, yeah, Mick, can I hear Dave and Greg? How are you doing?
I'm very well. Right, so when we were watching the Warrington League game, me and Greg could not stop laughing. For those people who are tuning in tonight and didn't watch the Warrington League game, what we'd like to do now is show you why Tom is on here, and then we'll have a little chat with Tom. So this was Tom at the Warrington League game on Saturday. Here we go. Tom, this is your opening one.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. What's that, Tom? What would you call that dance move?
The truffle shuffle from the Goonies.
That's the truffle shuffle. Good man. Excellent. Well done.
Then we get the belly out.
This was the next one. What have we got there?
Oh, I was trying to do a rowing. I got text to do a row, and then a robot. It went wrong.
Right, okay. We thought that was Running Man. I thought that was the Running Man.
Could be Running Man.
There you go. And here comes your next one. You get more confident as it goes on, I think, Tom.
Oh, I got told to dab in the group WhatsApp.
Yeah. Oh, and a ski. Little ski there.
Bit of skiing.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
The David Brent dance.
Beautiful. Was that the Muller Rice Bear then?
No, David Brent, no, from the office.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. Little robot.
In the WhatsApp.
Our personal favourite, the riding of the donkey.
That was a fucking horse.
Yeah, was that a horse? Did you whip the horse at the end there?
I did like the Grand National for this weekend.
Yeah, a little bit of a whip.
Mate,
do you know
what was funny about that second time round? Do you know what was funny about that second time round? Looks like the guys in the next house are watching you do it.
Well, it was dead weird.
I didn't know that.
It was a mad experience.
Where have we gone?
Hello.
Are you still there, Tom?
Yeah, I'm still there.
They're still there. Good man.
So talk us through your dance moves, Tom.
Well, it was just one of them. It's lockdown and stuff. I'll give it a bit of entertainment on Sky and cheer people up with me terrible dancing. Even though Strictly just called the other day to get me on there for next year and dancing on ice. That's why I'm on the beach. You can see as my background, just hiding, laying low.
Are you getting your tan ready for next year's Strictly, mate?
Yeah, that's it. Get me tan ready. Get me glittered pants on.
So you got my vote already.
Ballroom trophy. It's coming.
It's fair to say, Tom, you've set a high bar there for the rest of Super League. We want to see dad dancing become a regular. It could actually be a competition, couldn't it? But like how in Bullseye they had the bronze bully. It could be the bronze dancing dad on Sky Fanzine for the rest of the season. But absolutely different class, mate.
Well, I did challenge Barry to a dance-off, but he didn't set me up. So if he is watching Barry McDermott, the offer is still there for the dance-off. We could get it at the Allowell Jones when fans could return.
I'd love to see that. I'd pay good money to see that.
Yeah, and we could all raise money for Rob Burrow as well. Good card.
Idea.
Yeah,
let's get it going. Idea.
So the Barry McDermott, Tom McGuiness dance-off, maybe before a game, live on the Halliwell Jones, live at the Halliwell Jones.
Yeah,
with Wolfie refereeing. That sounds like.
Yeah, let's get it rolling. Show. Let's get the petition going. Let's get the campaign.
Yeah. Let's do it. Can I have our cards? 7.
Yeah. I want 10s. That'll be the perfect 10.
You'll have to do well to get a 10 from me.
Oh. Don't be teasing me there, Greg.
Tom, honestly, can't thank you enough for coming on. Before we let you go, really appreciate your time. As a Warrington fan, obviously announced this week that Darryl Powell will be taking over at the helm of Warrington for 2022. Couple of quotes coming out of the club. I don't know if you saw them. Stuart Middleton, Warrington chairman, he was quoted as saying his coaching philosophy and the brand of rugby league he promotes is something that really appealed to us. His ability to improve players was also an attraction. Under his guidance, he's helped to develop 3 players into a man of steel. And Darryl Powell himself said, I feel like I'm moving from one special club to another. I think it's important to get it out in the open now so I can focus on the year ahead. And there's certainty for both sides at this stage. What's your reaction as a Warrington fan to Darryl Powell coming to Warrington?
I'm very happy with the appointment of Darryl Powell. I think we needed a change. I think we should have done the change probably in 2019. I think the way the season ended, I think the Challenge Cup victory did save Steve Price's job, and the rugby's not as entertaining as it has been over the last couple of seasons under Price. I think everyone's sick of the 5 drivers in the kit. Much as we beat St Helens, that was a special day. I'll never forget at Wembley. But it's just the players there, they should be performing better. But I think it's like a recruitment as well on the side of the club. I think we've gambled on Greg Inglis. He's a big name, but he's not been playing for 2 years. So it's a big concern this year for me as well, where we're going to finish. I think we've lacked depth in the squad. If we get any serious injuries in the arse or the backs, I think we're going to struggle. And we're still missing that nasty prop. and hopefully Daryl Powell brings Liam Watts with him.
Yeah, I saw
good
that.
call. Good call.
I saw that today, but Castleford fans were quick to pour cold water on that. By all accounts, he's got a lot of business interest in and around Castleford, and also when he was at Hull, he complained about the journey from Cast to Hull. So I think the journey from Cast to Warrington's a bit longer. So I think the Cast fans pretty confident of keeping hold of Watts, but also names being touted. Obviously, Truman, without question. Powell brought him in from Bradford, doing incredibly well, and because big rumours that Darrell Clarke could be heading to the NRL, to either the Gold Coast Titans or Canterbury Bulldogs at the end of the season. Paul McShane as well, a bit of a concern for Castleford fans. Sure not for a Warrington fan. I think you'd welcome both of those two.
I'd welcome Jake Truman. I think is one for the future. I'd just offer Darrell Clarke a blank paycheck and keep him because I think he's massive.
I think that I think Powell might just persuade Daz to stay.
Possibly,
I think. I hope anyway.
I'd miss that. Darrell Clarke could be missed, and I think if we get a nasty prop where he can play off, he's unplayable, Darrell Clarke, and we miss him. It's like when he didn't start against Castleford the first round, massive mistake. Come on, change the game, a bit too late.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
What I'd say to all the fans that are watching tonight, get involved on YouTube. The comments is the live chat. So if you've got anything that you want to say, get involved, put it in the comments box. Me and I'll pick it up and relay it back to Greg later. Just before you go, Tom, on the topic of players coming and going, how important, I mean, obviously, Powell coming in now, at least the players know who their coach is going to be, but some big players up at the end of the season, Toby King being one of them. I think it's very important that Warrington hold on to him.
Yeah, I'd keep Toby King. I think he's come on leaps and bounds over the last couple of seasons. There's probably a few that I'd let go. I probably will let Chris Hill go. I think he's done his thing. I think it's the right thing he left the captaincy. I think he's past it now a bit. He's still a good player, but if we want to be at the elite with the Wiggins and Saints, we're going to have to start really. And this is the problem we wanted to know over the years, I feel, is the lack of investment in the academy. We don't trust them. We get a big Aussie that's just come here for the payday with the likes of Tyrone Roberts and all that. And it's like them in the past. It's just we need to invest in the academy. We've got the grassroots level of Latchford Albion, Wolston Rovers, Rylands. We need to start looking in our crossfields, just start the development. I think Powell will do that.
All the big clubs, and of course we're one of them. But you look at Wigan, you look at Saints, you look at Leeds, and even Cass. They always bring the local talent through, and then of course bring with it a bit of quality and class around the edges. But I think some of what you've said here tonight, I think will resonate with a lot of Warrington fans.
Yeah.
Before you go, let's have your prediction then. How are Warrington going to do? First of all, where do you think they'll finish in the table?
I think we'll finish fifth. I'm not very optimistic. I think obviously with the lack of recruitment, and I think we've done a big gamble on Greg Inglis. I love Greg Inglis 2 years ago, but he's gone with the same Greg Inglis. I think we've let too many players go and not replaced enough. I think Arthur the vet should have been offered another deal. I think he's another young lad we're going to regret going like we did with Gareth O'Brien a few years ago.
Yeah.
One of them. I don't see having a good season, but it'd be just nice to get back in the ground with everyone again.
In terms
true, mate.
So in terms of grand final, you're thinking no. What about the Challenge Cup?
I think Hull for the Challenge Cup. I don't think we're going to do anything really. I've not been optimistic since the start of the season and the end of last season. I think that 5 drives and the kick, it just pummeled me to death. But you come back because you love it. It's like a drug.
Well, I think people heard it here first from a Warrington fan. This is not going to be our year.
Yeah.
Tom, really appreciate you coming on, mate. Look after yourself.
Pleasure.
Keep tuning into us. Keep supporting us. Get your mates to follow Super League Raw on Facebook and YouTube. Obviously, best wishes to you. And hopefully once this is over, we're back. We can maybe have a pint and meet face to face sometime.
Yeah,
cheers,
no
Tom.
problem.
Cheers, Tom.
Keep dancing, Tom.
Keep on dancing.
Keep dancing feet.
Get your factor 50 on, Tom. You're burning.
I know. Burn me little bald head. See you later.
See you later. Cheers, Tom.
Ta-da. great guy. Great to have him on.
Good fun,
great that we managed to find him, and we hope that people who didn't see Tom live on Sky enjoyed seeing him strut his stuff here with us tonight. So, Greg.
Yeah. Oh, you've gone, Dave. Oh, hello.
Now there you go, a little bit of gremlin. Team of the week. Team of the week.
Team of the week. You're not going to like me, but I'm going to say Warrington. People seriously aren't going to get fed up with me talking about Warrington. But Warrington, because after the horror show that was Castleford, they actually looked like they'd learned something and turned in a good performance. Widdop was superb. Man of Steel. Widdop was superb.
Yeah, your Man of Steel.
The Man of Steel. Yeah. So you heard it here first. Yeah, I know I'm a Warrington fan, but I'm going to go with Warrington this week as Team of the Week. Okay. Simply because it looked like they'd taken on board a few things and actually worked out how to play rugby for the first time in a long time. Yeah, it was only Lee, people might say, but you can't disrespect Lee like that. They're in Super League. They're a top flight club, and they played well for the first 15 to 20 minutes. Lee, they actually they gave us a game, and they there were spots in the second half where they played really well. But yeah, that, for me, I know Warrington. People will say, "Oh, you're a Warrington fan. You're going to say Warrington," but yeah, Warrington for me this week, mate.
Radio, do people agree with Greg? Put it in the comments. You've got the comments. The comments are open. That's our live chat. Put it in there. My team of the week is going to be the Castleford Tigers. The reason being, I think when the season started and people looked at their fixture list, Castleford were looking at Warrington followed by Leeds. I don't think there's many tougher starts than that any of the other clubs have faced. They've come out with maximum 4 points. And actually, they've done it with a lot of style. I think they've done really well, Castleford. Really like the brand of rugby league that they're playing. So Castleford, my team of the week. What we're going to do is quickly go through just a couple of gossips. But as we came on air tonight, breaking news out of Castleford is that John Wells is also leaving. He's actually left immediately. He resigned a month ago. He's served his month's notice, and John Wells is no longer the director of rugby at Castleford. Big changes happening at Castleford. What do you make of that? Yeah,
that's a surprise. I'd actually heard a rumour that he might not be there for certainly next season. Didn't expect to go this season. Strange one, given that the timing of the announcement coincided with Daryl Powell. Watch this space. Maybe they got tired of him trying to give Sam Tompkins man of the match at half time every week.
Well, I think for me, he's having a dual job like that. If I'm a Castleford fan and he's got his commitments to Sky as well, I think it's cleaner. I think it's a little bit cleaner the way it's been done. Next one. It would appear that this is going to be Jackson Hastings last year at Wigan. Coming out of Wigan is that they will not stand in his way at the end of the season, talking to other NRL clubs.
Yeah, that's no surprise, is it? He's. I've got a lot of time for Jackson Hastings. He seems quite. I know he went to Wigan, but he stayed loyal to Salford for a while. Obviously, if a club like Wigan's going to come knocking, then you're going to take, you're going to jump on that one. But I think at the time he was a bit angry with Wigan because they announced his signing before the end of the season, and he felt it. This is what I've heard. How true it is, I don't know. But he felt that Wigan had disrespected Salford and the fans because he had a good connection with the Salford fans. Yeah. But having said that, I'm not surprised. He's a good player. He's in a way kind of set out what he intended to do. He came over here, and I think if he's honest, he was always looking for that NRL contract again. So fair play to him. I've got a lot of time for Jackson Hastings. He's a good player. He seems like a decent bloke, and fair play. Good luck to him.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't disagree with that. In terms of other news, speaking of disrespecting, lot of news coming out of Australia in the last 48 hours that Adam Reynolds, the captain of the South Sydney Rabbitohs, in dispute over his contract. He wants 2 years. Rabbitohs only looking at giving him a 1 year rolling. There are NRL clubs, sniffing around, but you would expect, especially with some big players coming up to the end of the contracts at the end of 2021, that, the Super League clubs, he's only 31, he's a grand final winner. Adam Reynolds to Super League next year. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I could see it happening.
Be a big coup for any team who got him.
Any team that gets the player of his caliber is going to, is going to be lucky. Maybe a straight swap for Daz Clark. Who knows?
Yeah, Daz Clark at the Rabbitohs. That my Australian team. So I wouldn't mind Daz Clark in a Rabbitoh shirt as opposed to any other in the NRL.
I go into Daz Clark though. I think, or I hope that maybe Daryl Powell will persuade him to stay.
Yeah. Right, speaking of Castleford, going back to Castleford, we were here last week talking about McDermott or Powell, and we had a chat about that. Now it's roles reversed. Brian McDermott's name being raised. Sean Wayne in his England press conference, can't believe this happened, was talking about going back into club management after the World Cup. I think for me, his attention should be solely on the World Cup at this point. But Sean Wayne, Brian McDermott, 2 early names in the hat for the Castleford job. If you had to pick one, which one do you think it'd be?
I've got a lot of time for Brian McDermott. He's a good coach. Sean Wayne, some of his I'll probably upset a few Wigan fans here, but some of his tactics might be a little bit questionable in some rugby league fans' eyes. It depends, whether you've got that desire to win it at all costs. I think they'd both be good coaches for Castleford. I think Sean Wayne, he's Wigan through and through. You slice him open, and he'll bleed cherry and white blood. Whereas McDermott's a Yorkshireman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. It's 6 of one, half dozen the other, as far as I'm concerned. And Sean Wayne was never going to come to Warrington.
No,
never going to come to Warrington.
So staying in Yorkshire. Trouble brewing, maybe. We said last week that a Wakefield fan told us that Wakefield had only won 7 in 29. It's now 7 in 30. On the Wakefield Facebook pages, those fans are absolutely torn at this moment in time over Chris Chester's. And I'd have to say, with that record, would he be the favourite in terms of the first Super League manager to potentially, not that we want people to lose the jobs, but potentially be...
I think maybe they've got a tough cup draw this weekend, Catalan.
Yeah.
I think if they lose that, again, you don't want to disrespect these teams, but Wakefield are not a Wigan or a St Helens or a Warrington. They've not got lots of cash. They've got to kind of, keep renovating the ground because there's always that threat hanging over them. Yeah. But that many losses.
Yeah.
You've seen other coaches gone for less.
Speaking of other coaches,
Wakefield have stayed loyal.
Yeah.
But I think he could be very well looking over his shoulder if they lose against Catalan this weekend.
Yeah. And speaking of other coaches, we spoke briefly at Bradford. One of the big, former grand final winners. A lot of pressure. Game number 1, 50 point to 12 defeat to Sheffield in the Championship. And again, on the Bradford Bulls forums, Danny Brough coming in for massive pelters. He should be retired. Kerr's tactics also coming. Stranger things have happened. John Kerr back to Wakefield.
Maybe. I was going to say that because there's a lot of. I'm surprised Danny Brough's still going. How is he now? How old is he now?
He's got to be mid-30s, I would say.
Yeah. Great player in his day.
Yeah.
Doesn't say
former Man of Steel.
Indeed, soon to be Gaz Widdop. Stranger things have happened, mate. Stranger things have happened. John Kerr's got a kind of a decent record over in Yorkshire. Was doing well at Bradford, but I was talking to a couple of Bradford fans who are not really happy the way things are going at the minute. You can stay at a club too long, can't you?
Mate, I mean, I'm sure people over in Yorkshire will have a view on this, but Bradford Bulls, I mean, a huge fan base, should be a Super League club. Simple as that. I mean, obviously the ownership or previous ownership, a lot to answer for there. And the last thing to say in the gossip round, or just general chit chat bit of the programme. Congratulations to Newcastle Thunder, 14 points down at half time, came back to draw with Widnes, 30 points to 30. Commiserations to our friends over the Holton Bridge. For that
I noticed we haven't got any Widnes support.
No, not at the moment. No, word hasn't got to Widnes fans
nice
yet.
To have some on board.
Be delighted to have some Widnes fans on board and come and have a bit of sport with us.
Yeah. Has the internet got to Widnes yet?
I think so.
Right,
just about a few years ago. Anyway, so we're going into.
Should I go now?
Absolutely, yeah. You know where you live. No, we're only joking. In terms of quotes, any quote of the week standing out for you this week?
I love it. I love the quotes coming out of Massoy about the rugby league family and how humble he felt that fans and teams both sides of the world could raise 100,000. Was it
over 100,000 now? Yeah, brilliant performance. Yeah,
I love the things that Massoy was saying. That just shows with the Rob Burrow and the Massoy just what a great sport this is. People of all clubs getting together. So that was the quote for me. The humbleness shown by Massoy for raising all that, for that money being raised.
I would like to give a little bit of a shout out to one of our Super League Raw Fans Forum members. His name is Chris Heath, a Castleford Tigers fan, and we'll be coming back to him in a second. It's a good lead into the next segment of the show. But before we do that, another little bit of fun. Just show you this one. Couple of bits that I took out. Credit to Hull. I love a bit of banter. Hull FC fans, very quick to come out firing on Hull KR fans this week with Pointless and Mind the Gap on their pages, which I found quite funny, I have to say. Any idea why I'm showing you Jamie Peacock there, Greg?
Go on.
Right. Serious about rugby league.
I'll indulge you, Dave. I nearly said that right then. I will indulge you, Dave.
Good man. Serious about rugby league. Put a little bit of a post out on most of the rugby league platforms. I think it was today. The top 5 pundits in rugby league, and Jamie Peacock came out number 1. I have to say, which, don't get me wrong, quality player. Absolute astounding professional rugby league player. We like Jamie Peacock, but as one Facebooker said, struggles to put a sentence together on the BBC.
That surprises me. That is news to me. That I've not seen that today, Dave. I mean, we've been commenting throughout the last couple of weeks on pundits that we think are good and not so good. John Wilkin is very good. I thought was Ash Goulding on Saturday was excellent.
Spoke with passion, didn't he?
Yeah. But Jamie Peacock.
Got nothing against Jamie Peacock. Great rugby brain, lots of knowledge. But I'm sorry to be voted number 1 pundit in rugby league. I'm sorry, Jamie. You can have all your grand finals, but I think that's an honour that's very difficult to bestow.
To be honest, I won't argue with him over it.
Absolutely not. If Mr. Peacock came and told me he was the best pundit in rugby league, I would agree with him.
I'd agree with the whole heart.
I was about him, without question. But hopefully he doesn't mind the feedback on that one. And then lastly, on the left-hand side, Carl Thiberd. I hope I've mentioned his name correctly.
I think it's Carl the Beard.
Carl the Beard. That is probably right. Well done, Red.
Carl
the Beard, Huddersfield Giants fan on their Facebook page. To all the moaning doubters out there who think we're having a bad start to the season, could be worse. We could be a Huddersfield Town fan, not a Giants fan. Of course, losing to Norwich 7-0. We said last week, how can a average football team pull in more supporters than what has always been a very respectful rugby league team? Yeah,
that we've had this conversation week 1, didn't we? It amazes me, and it does amaze me how they can sell out a lower league football game and yet can't sell out. And this is no disrespect to the Huddersfield club. They can't sell out a game against Wigan, a game against Saints in a stadium like that. Can you imagine a stadium like that full to the rafters of rugby league fans? It'd be a sight to see. And there was a time a while ago when it did get almost full for rugby league games. You know, what's going wrong?
Well, we said that. But anyway, like you say, just thought we'd put a mention out there. Right, I did say that my quote of the week was from one of our members, Chris Eve of the Castleford Tigers, who was quoted on seeing the England squad as this: "Well, that has to be the easiest job in history. 2 years of doing absolutely nothing, then picking the same squad as November," which I thought was a great quote, because that is exactly what Sean Wayne has done. He has picked the identical team that he picked in November. And that is it, Greg, in all of its glory. Every single player the same as November. We'll probably talk a little bit in a moment about, you know, who maybe was unlucky not to be in there. But I just want to read to you a quote now from Sean Wayne. And I find this quite interesting. "I watch every Super League game every week, multiple times, and I'm seeing good things so far from England players. The best ones not actually in the squad. But anyway, that's another story. I keep a very close eye on the NRL too. Those players can't join us at Leeds Beckett, but I'll make sure they get some information as the players who can." Now, this is interesting for me. Okay, it's a 35-man squad. We'll go through it in a minute and have a little chat around the various positions. But what I found interesting about this is all 7 NRL players will not be in this camp. They may be over the telephone, but they're not going to be in this camp. When you actually look at the list, there's at least 5, maybe 6 players there that are currently injured. This is a training camp. Now, forgive me, but if I'm a coach at international level and I've got, let's say, approximately, I could have a 35-man training camp, but I'm actually going to have on the pitch 20, 23, 24. Surely what a great opportunity this was to actually put a little bit of pressure on those that were in the 35-man squad in November, bring a few other people in just to get them around the camp, because what we're seeing this year, a lot of young talent coming through, for them to have the experience of an international camp, whether they go to the World Cup or they don't, that's irrelevant. To just be around the camp, be around the pros, working a few combinations, just getting the relationship cemented. I think Sean Wayne here has missed a big trick.
I agree totally. I don't wish to talk about football if I don't have to, but look at what Gareth Southgate did. He mixed it up. He brought in young players. He gave caps to players who a lot of people hadn't heard of. Some of them, Harry Winks, for example, gave caps to some young players. And the training camps brought young players in. As you say, some of the players there haven't played because of injury. Herbie Farnworth answers on a postcard.
Well, actually, you didn't even know I'd done this, but brilliant lead in, not scripted, but here we go. Herbie Farnworth, as if by magic. But there you go. Look,
there we go.
Obviously, I watch a lot of NRL, as you know, and
Broncos is my team over there. But
there'll be a lot of questions. Who is Herbie Farnworth? So I thought what I'd do before we talk about the others in there. I didn't know obviously that's what you were going to do there. But Herbie Farnworth, 21 years of age, Lancastrian. He came through one of the Broncos feeder clubs. He's made 26 appearances since his debut in 2019, and he was actually their Rookie of the Year in 2020. Okay, he scored 6 tries in his career today. He has played all 4 games for the Broncos this year. He's had 2 assists, 11 breaks, tackle breaks as well. Let me tell you, anybody who wants to go back and watch the Cowboys game from a couple of weeks ago, this lad's a unit. He's a big lad, got great pace, really good step, can play wing or centre. Actually, I was preempting other people saying, who is this guy? Let me tell you, absolutely deserving of being in and around the squad. Whether he makes the World Cup is open to debate. Would I rank him as high as Griffin, as Toby King at this time? I think Hardaker's probably a shout at centre. Like I say, we'll talk about that in a minute. He's probably not quite there yet. But let me tell you, I would say the next 2 to 3 years, this guy will be all over an England shirt. He looks a bit of a player, this boy.
Great research there, Dave. To be honest, I've watched the Broncos games that have been on, and I've hardly noticed him, if I'm being honest. Mind you, they have been on quite early in the morning.
Well, you say that could be a good thing. That says he don't make many mistakes, and the lad doesn't. He's had 4 missed tackles in 4 games, which I think is a great effort. Honestly, if you rewatch the Cowboys game, believe me, he was very good in that game. Made some cracking breaks, and like I say, he's a big lad. Considering he's only 21, he can only get better. Okay, so let's go through the positions. Let's go through them.
Yeah.
Starting at fullbacks, he's pick 4. What do you think? If you were Sean Wayne, would this be the 4 fullbacks that you'd have picked on this occasion?
I'm surprised Jake Connor's not got him there. I'm being honest. Would I have Jake Connor in over Sam Tompkins? Yeah, I think I would at this moment in time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Bringing
a bit of impartiality in. Just bringing a bit of impartiality in. I have to say, for me, as I look at those list of fullbacks, Ratchford for me, I think his time has gone in an international shirt. I think Jake Connor at this moment in time beats Stephen Ratchford for that position.
The thing with Stephen Ratchford is, though, Dave, he's been kind of cursed by the jack of all trades, the utility back tag.
Yeah.
He's been at full back for quite a long time for Warrington, but Ratchford is one of those players that will have a bench spot and fill in either centre or the full back or a half back or a loose forward gets injured. Yeah. And that's been, I think, Ratchford's problem at international level.
But I think if you look at this squad, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them in there. And for me, I mean, I said a minute ago, I actually think that by the time the World Cup comes, there's a big chance that Hardacre could find one of those centre spots. For me, at this moment in time, and I know that people wax lyrical on Sam Tompkins, I've got nothing against Sam Tompkins, the player. The lad has got class in him. But right now, for me, it's a shootout between Jake Connor and Niall Evans for me. Those are the 2 for me at this moment in time who are fighting it out. But then Sean Wayne comes out in the press conference, and we'll get to James Roby later, and pretty much says that Sam Tompkins is going to be his first pick. Which, again, this far out from the World Cup, let's say Sam Tompkins picks up an injury and he puts Hardacre in, Evans in, Connor in.
Yeah.
So they're going to sit there and go, well, he doesn't fancy me. This is Sam Tompkins. I just think, for me, a coach with that many years' experience to come out now in a March, well before World Cup, and start telling people who he would pick today in his team, I just think that's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah. You're totally right, Dave. Now's not the time to be picking the players who will play in that opening World Cup game. Now is the time to bring the players in and see how they go and watch them through the season. Yeah. Like you say, Sam Tompkins could pick up an injury at any point in the season. I personally, out of those 4, I would put Hardacre at full back.
Yeah.
Out of those 4, even though I'm a Warrington fan, as I might have hinted in the past, I would have Zach Hardacre there because he's on top of his game at this moment in time. Yeah. You'd have Niall Evans. I'd have Zach Hardacre. Is Jamie Shaw going to come into the?
Genuinely, mate. I think if I had to pick one right now, 2 rounds in. I know it's only 2 rounds in, and people look. Form is form. You can be as out of form and in form at this point, the same as you can near the World Cup. And at this moment in time, based on what I've seen, Jake Connor, for me, it's scandalous that he's not in that squad.
I agree with that.
Lazy coaching.
Yeah,
Coaching.
Out of those 4, Zach Hardacre is my choice. But Jake Connor, as I said at the top of this little piece, Jake Connor should be in there.
Of course he should.
He should be in there.
So we go to wingers then. Obviously, Don Manfredi currently injured. Harry Newman currently injured. Tom Johnson he's got a head knock. He's probably going to be out this week, but should be okay for the camp. Tommy Makinson, McGilvery interesting that one, and Ash Hanley in there as well. I think it's fair to say at this moment in time, providing the fit, it's probably going to be Makinson and Johnston, I'm guessing.
I would agree. With that, yeah.
Yeah, I think, interesting there. But, I mean, in terms of wingers, we look pretty strong in the wing. Same as fullback. I mean, there's certain positions that England have got. Fullback's one, hookers another. I think wingers again. We've got strength in depth in the wingers positions, haven't we?
Yeah. I mean, there's two at Warrington that a few years ago were being touted for the international shirts. But I'm with you. I'd go for Tom Johnson. I'd go for Tommy Makinson. Don Manfredi, when he's fit, is a classy winger.
Yeah,
he's a classy winger. Jermaine McGillivray, I don't know. Has he had his chance?
Look, he was last internationals. He was first pick winger, and rightly so at that point. But again, on form,
has his time gone?
Well, possibly, and I think that. Do you know what? I think that's a really interesting point. Because we're going to get on to the likes of James Roby at 35, maybe when we get to hookers. But for me, we have got a pool of young, hungry, talented players coming through who, with the greatest of respect, will have legs. By the end of this season, those who are pushing 34, 35, having played a full season, they're not going to have as much in the tank. Yes, they'll have the experience, but they won't have as much in the tank as the younger players. And these guys have had the shot at Australia. They've had the chance in the Ashes. They've had the chance in World Cups. And for me, in the same way that Gareth Southgate, we've seen Wales do it in football, Gareth Southgate has done it in football. By bringing these kids in now, it might mean, and I know Sean Wayne wants to win it, but it might mean that this time around we come up short. But because of that experience, because we have given them their head, by the time it comes around again, we could have a really good shot at it.
Yeah, I mean, we were the last World Cup final. We were an ankle tap away from winning it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of the same players. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
It's a while ago. Like you say, for me, Johnson and Makinson. Be interested to see if Don Manfredi does get over his injury worries. But the thing with Don Manfredi is he suffers a hell of a lot of injuries. He's in and out quite a lot through injury. So, interesting choices to be made.
Speaking of which, we go into the centres. Of course, Mark Percival there. Mark Percival surprisingly expected to be back for St Helens at the weekend. But anyway, into the centres. Right, so Toby King, for me, probably in the last 12 months, one of the most improved centres in Super League. I'm going to skip Mr. Sargent for a minute. Oliver Gildart, got no issues with that. Percival on his day, fantastic. Josh Griffin absolutely deserves to be in there. I've already put a case forward for Herbie Farnworth. Whilst I don't think he'll make the World Cup squad, I do think he's worthy of looking at. I do think he's going to be exceptional in a couple of years' time. And then I come on to again, you talk about what on earth, jobs for the boys, people who have had the shot. Dan Sargentson, Callum Watkins in an international 35. Can you explain that to me?
Sure. Well, I'd like to see. Sean Wayne says he's seen every Super League game. Has he not
watched Salford, mate? He hasn't watched Salford this year.
Has he not noticed Dan Sargentson played at fullback?
Oh. And Watkins, mate, is a shadow of his former self.
Yeah, he's been a great player.
Yeah,
he's been a great player.
He's 35.
Watkins. But he's
35 years of age. I'm sorry, but no. And this is why, for me, the centre's massive head scratcher for me when I saw that. Didn't get it, but again. I think for me, if he's going to go pure centre, if he's not going to put Ardacre in the centres, which I think he will, but if he doesn't, for me, providing he's fit, I think Mark Percival and I'll have to say Toby King, Gildart, Percival and King, they're the three for me that are well in with a shout.
But isn't Gildart another one of the players that's injured at this moment in time?
At this moment in time, and he's in the squad, and he's just like wasting an opportunity.
I would like to think Toby King would get his chance, but I don't think he plays for the right team if you get my drift.
Well, in saying that, as a Warrington fan, the most players from any one club is Warrington with 6. So that's interesting. Halfbacks, right. Halfbacks. We haven't really got, for me, we look at that, Luke Gale, Johnny Lomax, George Williams. I think it's fair to say Williams will start. I think I've got no doubt about that. Luke Gale coming in for some right pelters on the other side of the Pennines, which I don't quite understand. I think Luke Gale's a good player. I think he's just in an average. I mean, you tip Leeds for big things this year. But I don't see that at the minute. Johnny Lomax is Johnny Lomax, but again, surprised here. I mean, where is Mark Sneyd? You know, the highest goal kicker in Super League this year, 50 goal kicks last year. You know, he's not a slouch, isn't Sneyd? You know, he's picked 3 halfbacks with, of course, utilities such as Sam Tompkins who can play there, Ratchford who can play there.
Yeah.
But how Mark Sneyd of Hull does not get into this, I'll never know.
I agree with you on, and again, Jake Connor's another player who can play there as well. So worth his place.
Actually, sorry, Greg. Before you go on, I'll throw Jake Truman into that mix as well. Carry
Jake
on.
Truman, yeah. You beat me to it to say Jake Truman. Yeah, I mean, Lomax and Williams are very, very similar players. So is he thinking that Luke Gale is going to be the 7 and it's between Lomax and Williams who plays at 6?
Williams starts. For me, the number 6 is not even up for debate. I think George Williams will walk it.
I think he's thinking there is Gale and Williams, and yet Lomax on his day is unplayable.
Yeah. I just feel a little bit there for Sneyd, I have to say. Then we come into one of our hotly contested positions, strength in depth, fantastic here. Josh Hodgson of Canberra Raiders, Darrell Clark, former Man of Steel, Paul McShane, current Man of Steel, and I'm sorry, St. Helens fans, I don't think James Roby will get to the World Cup. I think the 3 hookers that he will take will be those first 3.
I tend to agree. And really, it should be between Clark and McShane. I think Hodgson has had his chance. I mean, he's no spring chicken.
No.
I think it has to be. It has to be Clark and McShane starting and interchange. It has to be if we've got any illusions of getting even to the semi-finals.
Yeah,
it has to
I
be.
Put McShane. I'd start with McShane. I would start with McShane because I think Clark off the bench is electric, and I think that at Warrington, yes, Danny Walker's there. Clark is head and shoulders. Clark has to start. It's a luxury that Warrington hasn't got to in the big games bring Clarkey on for me, but. Here for England, if you can start with a Paul McShane and have Daz Clark in reserve on the bench, you've got a lot of penetration from dummy half, haven't you?
Yeah, either way round, Dave. I think either way. Yeah. You maybe interchange it. Start with McShane one game, start with Clark the next, and see how it works in the group games. But James Roby's been an absolutely wonderful player. You can't argue with that. But it's time. It's time to bring freshness into that position, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. And then we come into the forwards. Obviously, I've just bunched these together. To be fair, I don't think there's any. I haven't got any issue with any of them. As you look down the list, it's strong. I think that without question, the starting 8 and 10 will be Burgess and Walmsley. I don't see that any going.
Yeah, it's got to be Farrell and Bateman second row. I would have thought.
Possibly, I think well, you say that. I mean, God, you've got Thompson, you've got Curry, you've got Whitehead, you've got Farrell. Again, you look at that, and we're not even mentioning a couple of the players that, for me, again, only 23, 24 that are going that are fit. Where's Matty Lees of St. Helens, who has had a phenomenal start for St. Helens this season? Should he be in and around this squad? Oliver Holmes. Where's Oliver Holmes? Liam Watts. Liam Watts at Castleford.
Oliver Holmes has been the standout. Him and Bateman have been the standout forwards for me in the first couple of weeks of Super League.
Yeah.
Oliver Holmes. We had this conversation. He was outstanding against Warrington.
We did.
There's no real mongrel in there as well that I can see. There's no Adrian Morley. There's no Peacock.
Burgess.
There's no
Sam Burgess. Peacock.
The other guy fielding until he got a little tap round the chin against the Aussies. There's no fielding. There's no real mongrel in that pack. No. The Aussies will have a mongrel in there. You can guarantee that.
I think the Aussies. I mean, with Peppenhausen and they're going to have some squad. They are, but again, just bringing the England bit to a close. Time is ticking. Packed on this one today. I knew it was going to be with all the news stories that have come out. It was always going to be a big one. I hope you agree with this. If it was me, once you take out the NRL boys who aren't going to be there and the ones who are injured, if it was me, players, and by all means add to this, that I would have took onto this camp, Matty Lees of St Helens, Jack Wellesby of St Helens. As much as I don't think Wellesby will go to the World Cup, I've already said I just think it's good to get these players in and around the squad. Jake Connor, 100%. Mark Sneed, 100%.
I agree with you.
Wigan, Jake Bibby. Now, people go, behave yourself. When you look at those wingers, he hasn't got a chance. He scored 5 in the first 2 games. Again, worthy of going in. He's a young lad, worth going in there. Sam Powell,
that's the one. Yes, Sam Powell. He's
over Roby for me. I'd put Sam Powell in there.
Sam Powell, and this is no respect to Sam Powell. He's perhaps that little bit of mongrel that we need. He could start a fight in an empty room, Sam Powell. You know what I mean?
And he's relentless at tackles, mate. Yeah. Absolutely relentless at tackles. So I feel for Sam Powell. We've already said Oliver Holmes, Jake Truman, Liam Watts should have been there. Wigan, Morgan Smithies, I think would have been worth taking. Harry Smith.
These are quite.
Harry Smith would have been worth taking.
Yeah. Yeah, Morgan Smithies is that mongrel as well, and he likes to fight. Yeah. He likes to throw a few punches.
Yeah, I mean, why have 20 players on a training pitch when you can have 30 and have a bit of sport? And then finally, maybe even though centres, we talked about centres. For me, I would have left Dan Sargentson and Callum Watkins at home, and I'd have replaced them with Alex Sutcliffe of Leeds and Jake Wardle of Huddersfield. Personally,
Jake Wardle, that's a good shout. Yeah,
I'd have took them in. But you know what? We're not Sean Wayne, as Chris rightly said. That's 2 years in planning. He's obviously done a lot of research since November. Hopefully, his squad selection has a bit more thought to it come the World Cup. Anyway,
was your tongue firmly in your cheek there, Dave, when you said
very firmly? Did you see it? Very, very firmly.
I wondered what it was.
Right. So, might run over a little bit. I hope people don't mind. Very, very quickly, very, very briefly, the week that was. First of all, Wigan 34, Wakefield 6. Like I've already said, Tom Johnson not expected to play this weekend, but should be back for the next round of Super League. Wigan looking really good. You've already mentioned Zach Hardacre. I think at the moment he's their standout player alongside Bateman and Bibby. And I thought Fafita also had a strong game.
I like David Fafita. He's a good player. He's a David Solomon, as I think we said on Saturday, was it? Yeah, he reminds us of Dancing Dave Solomona a lot.
Yeah, I agree. But no, Wigan looking good.
Harry Smith, a good young kid for Wigan.
just on the topic of Wigan, we'll get to this, but I might forget when we get to the Challenge Cup. I had to laugh. Our friend in the League Express, the one and only Gary Schofield. Schofield. Sorry, Gary Schofield. Wigan won't have it all their own way against York. This is, and much will depend on what kind of side they put out. Adrian Lamb saying he's going to put out a very strong squad. He is tipping Wigan by 10 against York. Well done, Gary. Great punditry.
He's obviously taken into account the Ryan Atkins effect for York City Knights.
Absolutely. Well, all I would say is that if Gary wants to open a book, I'll have some of that. If he's offering Wigan by 10, I'll certainly take him on.
I think he's bought some of your coffee from last week, mate.
Hey, it's good coffee. That.
I tell you what, I'd say good odds. I bet you get good odds. Wigan by 10.
Oh, I mean, just honest. But again, in the same column, how can you expect somebody who's going to give Wigan 10 points over York? Again, in his column, absolutely slating Huddersfield, Hull KR, Lee, Wakefield, and Salford. I'm not feeling Gary at the moment this year. Hull KR Saints. What can you say about Saints? Wellesby impressing again at full back. I mentioned Matty Lees for the England squad. I think Matty Lees is having a brilliant season. And in terms of Minchella, bad news, of course, for KR.
Out for the season.
Out for the season with his ACL. Yeah. Last year, did good things for them. Got a couple of stats here. 3 tries last year and assists. Average carries just over 6 meters. 27 offloads for KR. 538 tackles. He's going to be a big miss. And the vice captain, isn't he? Big miss for KR.
Things aren't going right for KR at this moment in time. That's the kind of look you don't need when you're struggling for form. the Catalan second half aside, they were poor woeful in the first half of that game. They were always going to come up against a good Saints side and be outclassed. But yeah, tough times. Time for Harvey Livette to step up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was interesting hearing Tom earlier on saying that he'd give Livette the Bart Simpson of rugby league, Harvey Livette. But
you said that, Dave, not me.
I did, yeah. Mike Withers is on YouTube. I've been resisting this because it gets you off the hook a little bit for Man of Steel. He's saying Gavin Henson for Man of Steel, which is an interesting one. He's obviously he's obviously on the coffee, mate.
Yeah, he's not in the right division or country.
But no, good. Well, good for tuning in.
Is that the world famous?
That is yes, the Peter Schmeichel lookalike of Warrington, I believe, is what he's more commonly known as.
I thought you were talking about the old Bradford full. I thought you were thinking of the old Bradford fullback there.
No. The and that actually in and around Liverpool has been mistaken for Joey Boswell of Bread a few times, I believe.
Indeed.
But anyway, that's another story. Right, we then moved to Warrington Wolves, bounced back against Leigh, 44 points to 12. We said in commentary, left edge looking very, very good. Widdop, brilliant, but needs to do that in the big games.
Yes, he does.
Before you talk a bit about Warrington, I just want to pay a little bit of a tribute to Adam Sidlow, who had a really good game. Yes, he scored the try. 33 tackles in that game as a prop forward. He made 133 metres in the game. One clean break, couple of offloads. I think it's important that Leigh celebrate the wins. I think Adam Sidlow, very good. And I also thought Ben Reynolds, considering he'd only been bought the week before, hadn't had much time in and around the squad. I saw some good moments from Ben Reynolds.
Yeah, I've watched it back, and I think the commentary team the Sky commentary team were expecting fireworks from him. That was never going to happen. No. First game out, but yeah, hats off to Leigh. They played well against Wigan the first week, my team of the week. I think that loss could very well have kind of deflated them a little bit. If they'd have hung on to win that game, I think they might have given us a sterner test at the weekend. But yeah, as I've already said, it looked like Warrington actually took heed of what had happened in that Castleford game and went back to basics and actually worked. The one thing I was saying to you for the first 20 minutes of that game was not one single Warrington player was running off the ball. And then suddenly after 20 minutes, Curry started running the lines. Blake Austin started taking the line on, like Truman had the week before against us. And it suddenly all clicked. And it was like, oh, this is how you play rugby. So hopefully, I know we're going to talk about the Challenge Cup in a little while. But if I was Steve Price, I wouldn't make that many changes. I'd keep this momentum going.
I agree.
Bring a couple of kids in on the bench, but I would. I'd go with a fairly strong side to keep this momentum going. We've got Hull the week after now. Couple of injuries. That would be fortuitous against us.
It's been announced today that Josh Reynolds is out for 6 weeks. They were hoping that he'd be back for Warrington, but that's a massive blow for him.
And Sneed, any news on Sneed?
I think they're saying he's going to be doubtful, potentially doubtful for this weekend, but should be back for Warrington, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, they'll probably Jake Connor. It seems to be the Jake Connor love in this moment in time. He might move up to halfback.
He loves playing against Warrington. He loves playing against Warrington, does Jake Connor.
But Blake Austin loves playing against Hull.
Yeah. Well, Blake Austin needs to stand up, I think, at this moment in time. Right, we then go on to what was arguably probably one of the best contested games of the weekend. I really enjoyed it. Leeds 10, Castleford Tigers 18. I've already said why Castleford were my team of the week. Really, really playing well. Truman, McShane. Thought Richardson came in and played well. Evels, Holmes, Murray, Turner, the list goes on. But actually, again, just to balance this up from a Leeds perspective, I have to say, what a start to the season Matt Pryor's had for Leeds. Yeah,
he's a good player. He's a good player, Matt Pryor. I think that's probably somebody that Warrington missed out on, if I'm being honest. He's a good player, and Leeds are kind of kicking me in the teeth a little bit at the minute with my prediction that they do well this season. I really thought they'd kick on from the Challenge Cup win. They may well do. Leeds in the past have been notoriously slow starters when they've won the grand final.
Yeah.
It was a season where they lost the first 5 or 6 and then went on to win it.
Yeah.
But at the minute, and fair play to Castleford. The thing with Super League is, as Warrington fans know too well, you can peak too soon.
It's all about it's all about playoff rugby league, mate. It's all about playoff rugby league. Right, Salford 4, Hull FC 35. Right, if I'm gonna have a bit of a moment here. Salford, first of all. If I'm a Salford fan, I'm really worried. 10 points in 2 games. Lee, alongside Lee, conceded the most points at 64 apiece. Richard Marshall. Now look, we've got a lot of time for Richie Marshall. This is a big chance for him, and we're only 2 games in. But if I'm a Salford fan, he was quoted post-game as saying that their lack of discipline cost them. Now, yes, Ryan Lennon went off with a yellow card, but during the time he was off, they only conceded 2 points. And, for me, the problem isn't discipline. The problem is attack. They look so blunt in attack, completely devoid of points. If they had 13 Elijah Taylors, they'd be fantastic. I think he's probably one of the only bright sparks that's come out of it. 64 tackles again at the weekend, but was put back on the field, clearly injured, which for me, I just didn't, that game was gone.
When the game was lost as well. Yeah.
Didn't understand that. Kevin Brown, I think this could be a blessing in disguise. Got a 1-match ban for tripping. Won't be playing at the weekend. Yeah. Big chance for Deck Patton this, for me. Deck Patton a few years ago for Warrington was looking like he was getting somewhere, then went back. Big chance for Patton possibly at the weekend. Before I start talking Hull, your thoughts on Salford? I think they're in trouble.
I can't disagree with you, Dave. Lee are possibly favourites to go down for obvious reasons, but I'd be worried that they've lost a lot of players. They brought in new players, a new coach. That magic that they had seems to have gone at the moment in time. Yeah, I would be. It will be interesting. I think we'll know more when Lee plays Salford. That is going to be a crux game when Lee plays Salford, and I don't think that's far away.
No, I don't think it is. But no, I agree with you. I
agree. I don't want to keep going through it and agree with everything you say, Dave, but you are right in that. I fear for Salford.
Yeah, I think it could be a very, very long season for Salford. And then Hull. Do you know what? I picked them as my team of the week last week. I thought they were brilliant again. They were playing Salford, but it doesn't matter. I thought first half they were exceptional, really playing well. I think what's really interesting about Brett Hodgson's appointment, is the defence. Last year, I think they had something like the 4th worst defence in the league. They averaged 24 points against a game in the regular season. In the first 2 games, they've conceded 14. Yes, they've been fantastic going forward, but it's the dirty work in rugby. It's the defence that the coaches pride themselves on. 14 points, 2 games from the 4th worst defence in the regular season last year. That's a cracking job done by Brett.
Yeah, exactly. Take your hat off to Brett. He was a great fullback in his time, so obviously knows a bit about tackling.
Absolutely.
I remember him coming cropper against Kylie Luluai at Wembley, and then getting up and slotting 3 conversions over. He wouldn't. If
that happened now, he'd be off with the assessment. But exactly. I mean,
tough as boots.
We wish him well. I mean, and an absolute gentleman as well. Brett Hodgson, cracking guy.
I always think he was hard done to by Warrington in that grand final when he was left out for Ratchford and didn't even get a place on the bench. That was
Hodgson for me, rugby brain, brilliant coming in on the arch. Just a breath of fresh air. Do you know what? He would probably rank up there in terms of the best fullbacks Warrington's ever had. Any conversation around the best fullbacks Warrington have ever had, Brett Hodgson would be in there.
For the short time he was with us, he wasn't with us for long. He was only with us a couple of seasons. But 7 stone wet through, but could
And Huddersfield fans, Huddersfield fans speak well of him to this day. The whole FC fans now Really good guy. We like Brett Hodgson. We wish him well.
Yeah.
And then finally, the Giants and the Dragons. Interesting one, this for me, in the fact that it was the same again for the Dragons. The Dragons great in the first half, nilled in the second half, which gives Huddersfield hope. Again, thought first half Huddersfield were pretty bang average, but to come out second half to keep Catalans to 0 gives them something to build on, doesn't it?
And again, Huddersfield are making my predictions look a bit silly at this moment in time because I said they'd be the team to watch again because of the players they brought in. No Caesar. Caesar's a big miss. He's a great player. Reminds me a little bit of Blake Austin. In some respects with his play when Blake Austin's on form. I'd be worried about that with Catalans. They're yet to put together a decent 40 minutes in the same game. Is it fatigue because they're travelling? Is it?
All I know is that it's going to be interesting to see how Catalan fare when they don't go in with a big half-time lead because second halves they've been pretty average, to be fair.
Missing Remy Casti, I think, as well. He was a good pack. He was a pack leader. Remy Casti. You don't replace big players like that easily.
No. So this is the current Super League table. St Helens, Hull, Wigan, Castleford, and Catalan all with 100% records. Warrington and the Rhinos then at 50, and then of course that chasing pack underneath it. Interesting. Hull, like I say, I think Castleford for me 2 difficult starts. I think they'll be delighted in terms of where they're at. But you look down at the bottom of that table, Salford Red Devils, points difference of 54 2 games in. That is not good viewing. It really isn't at this stage. Right. So what we'll do now, before we get to the Challenge Cup, let's just quickly go through a few stats. Top try scorers, of course, Jake Bibby hat-trick last week. Warrington, Toby King, Widdop, and Lionel Moore with 2. Josh Reynolds and Regan Grace also with 2. That means that Bibby leads the tries at this stage with 5. Greg, whilst we're on that slide, your try of the week last week, what was that?
I've got to say it again, Gareth Widdop's second try. They've moved down the left. A superb try. Good break on the left and good supporting play. Thought that was a great try. I know I'm all Warrington this week, but I enjoyed that try. That cemented for me the kind of the idea they got that they'd actually worked on a few things on the training ground for once.
Fair enough. I'm actually going to go with our fans forum. We put a poll on there yesterday, and winning at the moment, it's still live, very convincingly, is Reynolds' first try in the whole game. Great try, great run by Connor. Ball on the inside to Reynolds, Josh Reynolds, and it was a great finish. So I actually agree with our fans forum members. I'm going to go with Josh Reynolds last week. Right, we move on to try assists. Connor, Gaskill, Isa, Widdop, Farges, and Ben Curry. So they were the assists last week. Hard meters, we like this one. Jake Bibby, done well there, 173 meters in total. Again, just to remind people how we do this, players who carry the ball more than 10 times, that's the qualifier. As you can see at the bottom there, of course, Tom Davis's meters helped by that sensational break for the Matt McMeekin try, which again was a great try. But look at that there. Josh Charnley, Liam Sutcliffe, Timiveri and Toby King. So really good meters, hard meters there. We then go into the tacklers. Surprise, surprise. Sam Powell for the second week running finds himself in the top 5. Elijah Taylor, heroic performance in the second half for Salford. Paul McShane, Hadley and Bentley also involved there. Okay, so what we'll do now is look at where the man of the match were given. 3 different man of the matches, of course. Man of Steel, Albert Goldthorpe Medal and Sky Sports. Everybody was in agreement with Gareth Widdop, with Jake Connor and Sam Tompkins. The rest, there was a little bit of different opinions. So for the Warriors Wakefield game, both Man of Steel and Sky Sports going with Jake Bibby for his hat-trick. Zach Hardacre getting it in the League Express.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Hull KR Saints, same again. Sky and Man of Steel, both agreeing with Jack Wellsby. Theo Farges was the one who got the Albert goal for.
I'm not so sure about that one. I think Wellsby was superb in that game.
Yeah, Wellsby he's been brilliant, and talk that Cooty's back this weekend, and Christian Wolff did say that one way or the other they will find a place for Jack Wellsby. His form means he has to stay in the St. Helens team, and all credit to the young man for that.
Yeah. Where does he play then? There's the debate.
Well, there's talk that he's going to go into the centres. I think there's talk that he'll go into the centres. So we'll see how that one pans out. And then finally, the Rhinos and Tigers, again, a bit of a change. Oliver Holmes coming out on top with Sky and League Express, but Man of Steel going with Jake Truman.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Oliver Holmes. I think he's a great player. Yeah. Has stood up this. Jake Truman, you can't argue with that, but I would have. I think Oliver Holmes, Jake Truman is the kind of he's the link between the forwards and the backs, but Oliver Holmes does all the hard yards and the dirty work. Interesting there, Sam Tompkins. I think they give it Sam Tompkins for putting his boots on the right feet, to be honest.
I have to say, I thought McMeekin in that game was very, very good. I really did. I thought McMeekin in that match was really, really strong. So I was quite surprised at that one myself.
I think it's in his contract.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to have a quick look actually, just to make sure that I'm not wrong. So yeah, McMeekin, he got his try. Yeah, offloaded. Actually, his meters game weren't as great as I thought they were going to be. Actually, he only got 37 meters in the game. Garcia had one try, 23 tackles, 16 breaks for 9 meters a break, an offload. And this is it. When you actually get into, don't get me wrong, Tompkins did really well for the first try. I thought, the offload was really good, but for me, I didn't see it. I didn't see it as man of the match.
Again, we talk about Sean Wayne being lazy. That to me is lazy. That's just not watching the game. That's just seeing what you want to see. It's John Wells at halftime in the first week saying, "Give Sam Tompkins man of the match now." Didn't age well.
He's not got Castleford clouding his judgment this week. He might have more concentration on the game.
He may well do. It's just lazy for me. Just lazy.
So now, I don't disagree with you, mate. Don't disagree with you. So we now come to probably one of the most contentious things we do every single week. I've put together a 13 for Super League Raw, the team of the week. And this is how it looks this week. Fullback, Jake Connor. That was hotly contested, but Jake Connor in there. Going from left to right, Regan Grace of St. Helens, Toby King, Josh Griffin, Jake Bibby. In the centres, Theo Farges and Gav Widdop. And then up front, Chris Hill, who obviously played on with his Easter egg at the weekend. Paul McShane, Matt Plyer, he's having a great season. Ben Curry, Oliver Holmes, and Zane Tetevano. What do you make of that? Yeah,
I've been impressed with Tetevano. Again, he was one of the reasons why I thought Leeds might do okay this season. He's a good player. Yes, I don't tend to disagree, although I'm Truman instead of Farge, maybe. But,
again, and I think it's important that we look at these things. Let me just do a little bit of a compare and contrast, because I can do that. I've got all the stats in front of me. So let's just bring those two up, and I'll just that way I can at least explain myself. So Jake Truman, Theo Farge. Let's find Jake Truman first.
You need to explain yourself to me, sir.
I know, but hey, you're saying it, other people will be saying it. And do you know what? There's never going to be much between these, because you're right, both of them played well. But actually, when you look at the stats side by side, Theo Farges 2 assists in the game, Truman just the 1. Farges harder working in defence, 30 played 22. Jake Truman did more meters, did comfortably about 50 meters more in the game, running from dummy half. But when you actually watch the game, and this is the bit for me, the stats tell you one thing. Kicks in general played 12 to Farges, 9 to Truman, but it's the temperature of the game. And when I rewatch the games, Farges for me had more of an impact. His bits of the game were more impactful for St. Helens than Truman's were. But you know what? You're right. You could put Jake Truman in there. And then people would say, well, where's Farges? Johnny Lomax, could have easily have been in there. Reynolds. I think if Reynolds had played the full 80, and I'll be honest with you, the only reason I didn't put Reynolds in is because he didn't play the full 80. So, but for the time he was on the field, he was absolutely sensational.
Yeah. A special mention to Chris Hill. I think that's the best game I've seen him have for Warrington in a long time.
Well, it's interesting that, just to give a bit of perspective, he made 23, obviously had his injury, 23 tackles. He made 147 metres in the game, 3 offloads. Really good. Just to put this team into context, if this team was the starting, with the statistics from the week that just was, this team would have scored 10 tries. They'd have made 295 tackles. They'd have made 1,367 metres. They'd have had 9 clean breaks in the game. They'd have had 15 offloads. So it'd have been quite champagne-y, the rugby that they were playing. The only thing that they wouldn't have done is kicked a lot, because the only person who kicked goals in that team is Jake Connor and 2. But if you're going to score 10 tries, I don't think you need to worry about that. To be honest. So that's our team of the week. Right, we're going to finish off very, very briefly looking at this, the Challenge Cup third round. We'll just very quickly go through the obvious winners in terms of some of these clashes, but we'll make some a bit more detail on a couple more. So we'll just bring you back onto the share. There you go. Right, we're kicking off with the first game of the weekend. This is at 6 o'clock on Friday, live on our league. £4.95 early booking fee, £10 on the day. Hull KR, like we said, lots of injuries. Minchella now out. Will Mayer probably a couple of weeks out, Tony Smith says. Takarangi, hamstring, not there. Joe Keys, Corbin Sims, also shame with his head not going to make it. And Matty Staunton also, Stoughton, not going to be playing in that game either. Castleford, no major dramas for Castleford. It's pretty much as you were. No major changes there. You can't really see Pat Cassie, can you?
No. There's always that one shock, but I don't think it's going to come in that game. Will Darryl Powell rest a few players? Even then, I can't see Hull KR. No disrespect, but with the amount of injuries they got out, I can't see them beating Castleford. I think that's Castleford by about 20, I would say.
Yeah, I can't say anything about that. I'm going to just very quickly go through this one. So Wigan at 7:45 on the same night, and this is free on the Sportsman's website and YouTube and Facebook. York City Knights taking on Wigan Warriors. Gary Schofield is saying by 10. Greg, how many are you saying by?
Yeah, he's talking rubbish. I'll say Wigan by 8.
By how many? 8 or 80?
8. No, I think, I think lost you there for a minute. Oops.
Yeah.
Yes. I'd say at least 30. I can't. Sorry, York.
I think it'd be more. I think it'd be 40 plus. But
at least 30. I don't want to sound too disrespectful. And you never know. We might, if they're all watching, we might encourage them to pull off the shock of the round.
Maybe. I think it's a cricket score, personally, that one. Right, Saturday the 10th, we see 12:30 kickoff, Salford Red Devils against the Widnes Vikings. We spoke at length about Salford. Do you know what? If a shock is going to come,
I was going to say
this. Be.
This is, we'll probably get proved very wrong here, but I think this could quite possibly be the closest game of the weekend, apart from perhaps Saints and Leeds. I think I just got a sneaky feeling Widnes are going to do that. I think we're only by about maybe 6 or 8. But I think this is the shock of the round. And sorry, Salford fans, but I think Widnes and Widnes aren't great at this moment in time.
No.
I just think, I think that could be where the shot lies.
It could be. I agree. When I saw, when you look at these fixtures and you take into account the first couple of weeks, I think that could be it. Right. We have decided that we are going to come together this Saturday to watch the St. Helens Leeds game together. Warrington this week, obviously, against Swinton. So we've decided, no, we're going to watch the round certainly the tie the round together on Saturday. So we'll be live on our YouTube channel to do a fan zone on that. Saints and Leeds fans, more than welcome. Some point we will be getting fans on, I'm sure. Bit shy Super League fans at the minute, but
it's not good.
I'm
we needed to start speaking up.
Yeah, I'm sure
start speaking up, getting involved, and giving us some banter back.
Absolutely, we'd love a couple of fans on. But yeah, this is going to be interesting. I think, on current form, for me, you can't look past St Helens, but this is Cup Rugby League, and talk coming out of Leeds that Kyle Eastman probably won't play. That now is well and truly been a bit of cold water has been put on that, and Richie Myler is unlikely to feature as well. That's a big blow for Leeds.
Yeah. Leeds, I tip Leeds, and obviously they've nosedived since I did that.
Yeah,
this is one of those games that is going to go one or two ways. Saints are going to absolutely steamroll them, or Leeds are just going to scrape it, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm even though I've tipped Leeds for good things, unfortunately at this moment in time, the way Saints are playing, I think Saints are going to win by about 24, 26.
Yeah. And it'd be interesting, like say Lachlan Coote coming back. That could be something to exploit, in terms of he's coming back after a bit of a layoff, won't be up to game speed. Could if Leeds are going to do anything, maybe early on put him under a couple of eye bombs and see how he gets on.
Yeah, just watch the 2019 Challenge Cup final for any tips on that one.
Absolutely. We then go to Catalan Wakefield. This is at 5:00 same day, live on BBC Two. Catalan, no fresh injury concerns coming into this. They've still got McAlorin, Tompkins, and Morano out. Wakefield also over Tom Johnson unlikely to feature. He might just make it. The whole
he's a big miss, isn't he? He's a big miss.
That's going to be a big miss.
Yeah, he's a big miss. I thought Bateman was a little bit naughty the other night. In the first couple of minutes, Johnson had a run and Bateman landed on his head. It could very well have been accidental. And then he took the high shot that kind of sealed his fate, really. But he had a couple of knocks to the head in that game that didn't help him, obviously. I can't see past Catalan.
No.
And as we were saying earlier on, I think that could very well be Chris Chester's last game.
Possibly. I think, but then again, if Wakefield can keep the score tight at half time, it'll be interesting to see how Catalan get on second half.
I still think Catalan. Catalan by 20, I think.
Fair play. Featherstone playing Hull FC, even though it's Sneed probably not going to make it. We know now Josh Reynolds is out. Taking all of that into account, Hull will get through this quite comfortably.
Don't discount Featherstone. They're a good side. There was talk of them, in the early days when Toronto weren't going to be making this season. There's talk of Featherstone Rovers as one of those that would take their place. I'd be more confident in Hull if they had a full team out. Yes, I think Hull probably will, but I don't think it'll be the cricket score that many are predicting. Sorry to disagree with you there, Dave. I think Featherstone have got quite a tidy little team.
I would go 18 plus, mate. 18 plus on them.
I'll go 2 tries. Two tries in it. Yeah.
Okay. Warrington, Swinton. We won't bother with the score. That should be a cricket score. But the only real question there, will Greg Inglis play?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. No. I'll be surprised if he does. So, he's already warming up now because I said no. We can't see past Warrington, but I'm not even going to tempt fate. Yeah, Warrington. Sure, and then quite easily.
And then another tight one. You said Leeds Saints should be tight. I think this one will be tight. Lee Centurions taking on Huddersfield Giants. Last game of the round online on our league again at 2:30 on Sunday. Joe Duffy, very hopeful that Ben Flower will be making his debut for
forgot about Ben Flower, yeah.
Joe Mellor and also Nathan Peets expected to feature for Lee. I think Lee for this. I think Lee will take him.
I'm going to go Huddersfield.
Are you?
Yeah. Simply because I think they've got too much experience perhaps for Lee at this moment in time.
Fair enough. Well, we will see on that one. So no, Great stuff. We will be live at 2:30 on Saturday for the Leeds game. Whilst we're talking predictions, we're not doing predictions for the Challenge Cup, but we did do predictions last week. So let's quickly just...
do we have to?
We do. We'll just quickly go back. These were the predictions from last week. So Greg, myself, and our guest fan was Luke Baker of Castleford Tigers fame. All of us went Wigan by 19-17. Hull KR Saints, as you can see, a few little changes there in terms of where we saw the game. All of us went wire. Greg, unlucky with the Rhinos. I just felt it was Tigers all day. And
they're letting me down badly, these guys.
Yeah, and again, you went Giants. As it all panned out, Greg, at the moment, you are 18 points, 4 correct teams, 2 correct scores. Then it's me with 6 correct teams. Got all 6 teams last week. I'm happy with that. 2 correct scores, 22. But at the moment, our Super League Raw fans are leading the prediction league for us with 27 points. So well done to Luke. Congratulations to the fans on that one. They take round number 2 as it was. We will be asking for volunteers on our Facebook page this week for some predictions for next week's fixtures in Super League. And when we do our show next week, we'll share those like we did Luke's last week. As we bring it to a close, more NRL on Sky. South Sydney take on Brisbane in the morning at 10-11. Penrith Panthers, of course, perfect 8 points for them, take on Canberra, who beat the Titans last week 20-4. That's at Friday at 5-11. And then on Sunday, the Parramatta Eels and the St George Illawarra Dragons, both on 6 points apiece in the NRL. That should be a great game. 9:15.
That should be a good game.
Monday. We are back on Saturday for Super League Gogglebox / Challenge Cup version St Helens against Leeds, and we'll be back here next Wednesday at 8 to be reviewing the Challenge Cup and to be looking forward to round number 3 of Super League. That has, as always, flown by, but we've got through quite a lot there, mate.
Yeah, we did. Good chat, mate. Enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Enjoyed it. Good to see Tom join us. Let's hope more fans join us over the coming weeks.
Well, let's hope so, and there's no reason why they shouldn't. I think that, like I say, we really want people to join us, don't we? We really want
they must be bored of me already. Surely somebody else can step up to the plate.
So we'll just go on silent for a minute. We're just going to advertise Saturday when we're back on. We'll be back here on Saturday at 2:30 for the St Helens game, and we're back here on Wednesday next week at 8 o'clock. Please tell all your friends about Super League Raw. Let's get the membership as high as we can between now and next week. And thank you to all those people who are posting and starting chats. It's great to see it really taking off. And Greg, I will see you on Saturday, my friend.
Look forward to it, sir. Have a great few days.
Enjoy
the rugby.
Will do.